In this video, we're going to talk about the cost of living in downtown San Diego and if it is really that much more expensive or extreme compared to anywhere else in San Diego. We're going to go through the different categories of like the major cost drivers, and then I'm going to kind of throw in like what my monthly costs are relative to those cost drivers. But before we do, my name is Wesley Guest and I'm a downtown San Diego real estate agent. If you're thinking about moving to, from, or within downtown San Diego, or pretty much anywhere in San Diego for that matter, don't be shy about reaching out to me. My contact information is going to be down below in the description, and I'm putting out content about downtown San Diego pretty much on a weekly basis at this point. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, so let's get started.
Well, it's about time.
Your number one cost driver is going to be probably the number one cost driver no matter where you live. It's going to be housing costs. I pulled the latest figures for you as far as like if you're renting downtown or if you buy a condo downtown, to give you an idea of kind of what you're paying. So the average rent right now to like if you bought a downtown San Diego condo, the median price right now, I just looked at it, it's about $544,000. With the 30-year fixed, your monthly payment comes out to about $3,392. That's going to be including like monthly HOA payments that you're going to see pretty much everywhere in downtown San Diego. If you were to buy a two-bedroom condo down here, the median price of the two-bedroom condo would be around $867,000. I ran the same mortgage calculations and it came out to about $53.57. So once again, that includes like an HOA monthly payment as well. So that's if you own. So your next option, of course, is going to be if you were to rent. Like you can rent a studio. There's lots of rentals now in downtown San Diego, a lot of new rentals. Just to give you an idea, I looked on the website Zumper. They had $2,350 per month as an average. I think it might be a little bit low. So if you're budgeting or you haven't moved here, let's say, and you are going to rent, I would plan for something probably a little bit higher. But let's say you wanted to rent a two-bedroom apartment instead, and their figure as an average rent was $3,400. I think that is definitely far too low. I think you're going to be at around $4,000, $4,500, $5,000, even up in some cases. It's going to be a lot more expensive to live in the nicer areas than it's going to be to live in some of the other areas. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what you might be paying. So utility-wise, to go along with those housing costs, you're going to be paying utilities in an apartment or condo. Keep in mind, like if you own a condo, it's going to include HOA fees like building maintenance and everything else that goes along with that, especially if you're like an electric high-rise. It's also going to include, in a lot of cases, it's going to include water, sewer, trash, and gas. That can actually be a pretty big savings and make a big difference.
I like the sound of that.
But no matter what kind of property you're in, you're always going to have an electric bill. I just looked at mine for last month. I looked at the last couple of months, actually, just to give you a range. Mine includes, so this is electricity and gas. It was right between, it had a range of about $110 to all the way up to $104, almost $150. I will say that like living in a high-rise that's more owners or like kind of individually owned condos, probably a little bit more private. There's community events, but it's probably they're less frequent. Whereas if you were to move into like an apartment where it's all rentals, a lot of the buildings tend to do a lot of community events, like almost even weekly. You get to meet people very quickly and very easily. Now let's talk about like food and dining, which is one of the biggest draws of living in downtown San Diego. If you eat at home a lot, there's going to be a couple major grocery stores down here. So there's going to be like an Albertsons, which is out in East Village, and then there's a Ralph's, which is right like in the middle of the Marina District. Both are pretty big. I tend to go to Ralph's probably more just because it's a little more convenient for me. And then there's also a farmer's market that happens twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays in Little Italy. Overall, the price of groceries, I think it's going to be pretty comparable no matter where you are in San Diego. Okay, so this is the one that's going to make a difference. There's many restaurants and cafes in the city. Depending on where you like to go, how frequently you like to go out, I mean, that's going to definitely determine how much it's going to cost you. If you're like me and you don't really cook, I'm almost too embarrassed to show you my monthly restaurant and going out bills. I mean, that's kind of how I eat. Well, it's part of how I eat. I also get meal prep delivered, so I don't eat out all the time, but I try to be healthy at least a little bit. Depending on the reason you're out, I mean, at a restaurant, I mean, we have some of the best restaurants in the entire San Diego, even the entire Southern California for that matter. I mean, you can go from spending $50, $60, $70 going out, but you can go to some of the nice restaurants. I mean, your bill is going to be in the hundreds of dollars. especially if you like to drink wine. I know I do. I would say if you're living here or going to be living here, I would budget probably a little extra for eating out. It's just too easy. I mean, you walk out your door, you don't have to drive, and you can walk to any restaurant. It's pretty amazing. Next cost driver I want to talk about is going to be transportation costs. Number one, what's the number one way to get around in San Diego and the rest of Southern California? It's going to be by car. So one of the biggest advantages of living in downtown San Diego is you can get by without having a car. I'm going to get into that in just a second, but if you do have a car, probably want to live somewhere or try to live somewhere where you're going to be able to park your car. You're not going to probably, if you don't leave the city that much, probably not going to need to drive your car that much, but you still got to park it. So that can be a big cost driver, especially if it's not included in your housing costs. If you were to rent like a separate parking spot, those usually run anywhere between $195 to $250. And even up. I know it's expensive, but there's just not that much parking down there, and there's less and less. All these new high rises that are going up, guess where they're going? They're going in where all the old parking lots used to be. So outside of a car, you're going to have access to other transportation options that you probably wouldn't have anywhere else in San Diego County, but here in the city you do. So you can use the trolley, and they keep expanding the trolley. Very feasible in the city, but you're also going to have the train station right here, so you can use Amtrak, you can use the coaster, depending on where you're going. Downtown, you're always going to have, I swear, 5 million Ubers and Lyfts available. There's a ton of buses downtown, lots of stations if you ride the bus, and let's not forget you're gonna have access to by the minute rental like electric scooters. Scooter! So let's talk about entertainment and lifestyle costs. This is one that can sneak up on you. I mean, this is going to be the reason like a lot of us live down here. There's just so much to do. It's just a lot of fun. Let me give you a scenario on how fast and how expensive this can get. This is going to be like 1 week. Let's say there's a concert at Petco Park. They're having more and more concerts at Petco Park. I go to as many of them as I can. Let's say there's an artist or concert you want to go to, and it's on, let's say, Wednesday. You get tickets, you go to the show, you get some food, get some drinks, you have a great time. 2 days later, let's say the San Diego Padres are in town, and whether you're a Padres fan or maybe the opposing team's fan, you want to go to the game. You buy tickets on Friday, you go have some food and drink, have a great time. Saturday rolls around and there's a special event. That's going to cost you money too. So in 1 week, that would be a Wednesday event, Friday event, Saturday event, and Sunday hasn't even come yet. People go out for brunch sometimes on Sundays. It can get very expensive very quickly. So lifestyle wise as well to go along with that. So think about like fitness, like gyms and places to work out. Most people are going somewhere to work out and get exercise in downtown San Diego. Tons of amazing options, but it's not cheap. So just to give you an idea of what I pay, so I go to a gym called Fit. There's a couple locations in the city now. It's super nice. It's a huge gym, but it's $116 a month. It's an amazing gym, but it doesn't come cheap. I mean, you're going to be working out, probably exercising somewhere. Your cost is probably going to be similar no matter what you're doing. And then the final cost driver is going to be anything that's specific to you. So you're probably going to know the costs a lot better than I would. So just don't forget about that when you're living in downtown San Diego. That kind of stuff can sneak up on you.
How many hobbies do you have?
So just to summarize, I think the biggest cost driver down here that you need to run the numbers on first is going to be housing. Whether you're renting or you're owning, entertainment and food are probably going to be your next biggest drivers, but they're manageable. You just got to be cognizant of it. Just cook and eat home a little more. God, this is the pot calling the kettle black or what? And just try to hit up the events and entertainment options, like the very best thing. Otherwise, your cost factor for that stuff is going to go through the roof. If you're living in downtown San Diego or you're moving here and you thought of something that I probably should have included, please drop it in the comments. And like I said before, if you need help moving to from or within downtown San Diego, reach out to me. Contact information is going to be down in the description. And I'm putting out content like this every single week at this point about downtown San Diego and other neighborhoods that are pretty close by. If you're interested in that, please subscribe. And if you're looking for your next video, I think you might like this one right here. It's my breakdown of all the specific neighborhoods in downtown San Diego. If you don't know where you're around, check this out. Have an amazing day.